Hey, it's Brandy with Smoky Mountain Stamping and trying to get my camera set up. It's a little wonky at the moment. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to just hang out here for a few moments and see who pops in. Hopefully a few of you will, it'll pop up in your feed and you'll jump on here. Let me know when you are here so that I know I've got some folks watching and ready to go. I'm gonna keep working on my little space here while I'm waiting. Pat Rittenhouse to say hey. My friend Pat's here. All right, so we are going to be today making this cute little card, and I think you're gonna like it. I feel like I'm really close here. But we're using Stampin Blends, and I'm kind of mixing up my schedule today. I'm going to stamp first, and then I'm going to talk about some new products at the end. So we'll see how that goes, see how you like that, and you can let me know afterwards if you like that setup. So I got some new products in from Sale-a-bration, and I think you're gonna like getting to preview those. And I think that's it. I also have a new kit. There's a new birthday kit that came in, and so I'm gonna show you that, and hopefully you will enjoy getting to see that as well. So I'm going to point the camera down and get started. Hopefully get my stuff arranged here. I'm trying to organize a little bit as I go. So let's see. We're going to flip and flip. There we go. And we'll see what we've got here. Okay. Start with some clean paper. Let me get my mat here in the camera. So this is the card that we're going to be making today. Zoom in a little bit on it if we can. So there we go. And it was a fun card to make. And you know, everybody's got lots of folks who are sick right now. And so this is a great card to make, to share with your friends who maybe are under the weather because of COVID. And of course that's no fun for anybody. So we want to, if we can, share some of our crafting to make somebody's day. So let's see. I'm going to try to make sure I've got my Facebook pulled up on my laptop real quick so I can see your comments a little bit easier. So if you hear me tapping away, that's what I'm doing. Let's see if I can get my laptop in here so it's a little bit easier for me to look at. There we go. Alrighty. Okay. So this is the Back on Your Feet stamp set, and let me pull that out because I think I put it back away after I pulled it out. Now this could be a problem if we can't find it, right? So yep, there it goes. So we need our memento, and we also need for this is our soft succulent cardstock, and then we're also going to be using our Stampin Blends. So let me just lay these out here for you so you can see the ones that we're using. And there we go. Let's see. Okay. And as you would imagine, my stamp set is not where I thought it was supposed to be. Oh, here it is. Okay. here we go. Let's zoom back out a little bit. Maybe. Nope, that's the wrong way. There we go. All right, so this is the same thing. I love this. We've got this cute little sloth in here. This little giraffe with his neck tied up with a little phrase that says that's not good to go with it. This little turtle that says hope you're back on your feet soon, which this is the one we're going to do. And just really cute little set. And I've had it for a while and I haven't used it as much as I would like. So I decided I was going to make several of these cards so that I can send out to friends who are not feeling well. Now we're going to be using, so if you can see here, this has got a really beautiful scalloped border. Let's see, some kind of, yes, Pat, these are very similar to the Copic markers. These are more, the Copics are made to be refilled, but these are kind of considered a disposable marker. Let's see. Because the cost, if you compare the cost with a Copic marker, these are much less expensive and therefore it's easier to replace them. So this is, we're using the Scalloped Contours dies, and we're using this die, and then we're also using, make sure, this one, okay? So you see it's got this really pretty stitching on it. This one has this eyelet detail. Now I've already run these through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but let me show you. So when I know that this is going to be the background piece, I go ahead and use this to cut out more. It's a cardstock saver for one. And then two, it also makes your card a little bit lighter when it goes to the post office. So you think, well, that maybe is not really that important, but when you start adding ribbons and embellishments and Stampin' Dimensionals, those things kind of all add up. So sometimes we want to do things to reduce that. And I already have, now you've seen me, I like to pre-cut a lot of my pieces. And so I just keep them in a bag so they're ready to go. That's another time saver, just to have my pieces pre-cut. And I put as much on my, when I'm cutting out pieces, I always put more than what I need so that I can get, you know, so I'm running it through that machine anyway. So I want to cut as many pieces as I can at one time. All right, so these are the two pieces that we're going to use, and you see when we layer, you'll never see that piece, so that's a good thing. All right, so let's put this back here, and then slip that back in there. Okay, so now let me get some. Now this piece is from the Pansy paper. So this is the Pansy Petals, and you can see here the colors that coordinate, and Soft Succulent is one of them, and so that's where I got that. But you can see this paper through here, double-sided. I believe there's 6 designs, so you actually get 12 or 6. There's 6 pieces of paper, 12 designs, so 6 double-sided. You know what I mean. Okay. Now this is paper. I'm not a huge fan of pansies, y'all, but this is an instance where I love the back sides of these papers. And so that's what we're using. And that's the Soft Succulent gingham that we're using. Let me put this back on the shelf. Okay. So we need to bring in our Stampin' Trimmer. I'm going to move all of this out of the way. And, well, I am going to bring this one back. Put my sample card over here so I can follow along and see what I'm doing. There we go. Ugh, my nose is itching. Okay, hopefully you guys are not in the same boat as I am, that you're seeing lots of friends and family with COVID, but we are, and we're actually seeing a lot with other things as well. There's another nasty little virus going around that's not flu and it's not COVID, but it is not fun. And I had that back before Christmas and don't like it very much. So I'm going to measure, and I'm going to measure from this edge all the way over to this edge, because the only thing that I want to see is this scalloped edge. And this will give me my measurement, and I'm going to write it down so I don't mess it up. So that's 3.5, because when I was making my sample, I could not, for some reason, remember my measurements and get them correct. And that is 4 3/4. Okay, for my DSP right there. And so let's get that cut. And let's see what this size is. This is actually, this one is already 4 3/4. So now I just need to cut 3.5. So that's helpful. I've already done part of the work. So there we go. So when I lay this on top, it's going to completely cover that. Okay, so there we go. Got that going. All right, put this scrap over here. Now to start, I'm going to go ahead and put this together. Because I've got this middle piece, I need to be careful not to put any adhesive in the center of this. So I'm just going to take my green glue, and I'm going to, y'all will bear with me for 1 second, I'm going to move this down just a bit so I can make sure I'm keeping you guys in my camera here. So this one, you can kind of see which is the front and which is the back. And I'm just going to actually take and put it on this piece so I know that I'm going to be safe when I do it. And then the other thing with the green glue is it does give you just a little bit of time to move your paper around and get it exactly where you want. Now I'm going to turn it over and just press. And then I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to set that to the side and leave that for now. Okay, now I'm going to bring back in this scalloped piece. And I'm going to put this here so that you can, I think you can see it a little bit better that way. And I'm going to use my Memento. Now when you're working with Stampin' Blend markers, people, it's really easy to get confused. We have 2 black pads, and we have, the other one is called Stays On. And so whenever you're working with markers, you want to make sure you're using the correct black pad. So Memento is a water-based ink, and you want to use the opposite. So our Stampin' Blends are alcohol markers, so we want to make sure we're using a water-based black ink with that. And then if we're using our, let's see, let me pull one out here. So these are our Stampin' Write markers. Let me grab a Stays On. So this is a water-based marker, so we want to make sure we're using the alcohol solvent, is what it's called, solvent ink. So you want to use the opposite. So if you're using the exact same thing, so if you're using water and water, they're going to blend and get murky and muddy. So you always want to make sure you're using opposite. So hopefully that helps clear that up just a little bit. All right, so I've got my Memento. And, well, let me see. That's right, I forgot I'm keeping it there to help show what we're doing. So I like to, a lot of times, just ink with my stamp this way. And that way I can see, make sure I don't have my sticker here. So we're walking on the wild side with our stamping. But I know, you know, based on this, that I want him up towards the top. Okay. And then, let's see. Which way is he going? Okay. All right, let's See how we do. I have another piece up, perfect, thankfully. Now I've got my Stampin' Scrub right here, and I just spritz some water on it, and I keep it kind of under my table so I can just give everything a quick rinse and not let my stamp pads get dirty. And then I'm also going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. And again, walk on the wild side because I don't have my sticker on. And if you have somebody that is not feeling well and you would like me to send them one of these cards, I would be happy to send them one of these cards. You just need to send me a message through Facebook. Don't post it in the comments. Don't post their address in the comments. There we go. So there's my, so now I've left room in the middle here to tie my ribbon. So we're done with that. Let me rinse this real quick. Alrighty. And now to the fun part. So you always got to do a little prep to get to the fun stuff, right? All right, so now we're going to color. And what I found out earlier is that I labeled my markers incorrectly. So I probably should just go ahead and fix that right now. I will take that off so that I don't do these. I got it mixed up. All right, now when I'm using my Stampin' Blends, I like to start with my, I guess I could stick it on there, with my dark ink first. And then we're going to blend out. Now, let me show you. I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper just to kind of show you. I don't think I've really done any Stampin' Blends demonstrations. And so let me just kind of show you how this works. I like to work with the bullet tip quite a bit. It's just as easier to me. So you're going to take your dark ink and you just, we call laying down color, putting down color. And then I'm going to take my light marker, and these two are really, did I mix them up again? Look, I did that. I did it again. I mixed them up again. That is too funny. Only I would be able to do that. Oy, mercy. Maybe I should start doing my Facebook Lives at 8 in the morning. I wish I could, instead of 8 at night. I don't know. All right, let's try that again. So we're going to go with dark. We're going to hope this is actually the dark. Now with this, these two markers, it's not quite as, the difference between the light and the dark is not as much as some other ones. And before I do anything, I'm going to just kind of ignore that one. Let's see if you can you see the difference between those? Hit some thumbs up if you can see the difference between the light and the dark that's there. Hey, Angie. Well, I'm glad you got to get on here for a few minutes. You can always watch it on replay. Okay, good. You guys can see it. I'm seeing some hearts and thumbs up. So now what you're going to do is I go back in with my light and I just start coming up in here into the dark, and where those two colors meet, I will just start making some circles. And then that just kind of blends those two together. So you can see it's lighter down here and it's darker over here, and there's just kind of that blending in the middle. Now you can also, you don't have to stick to just those colors. I can come in with a lighter color. So this is the dark soft succulent, and now you can really see that that is lighter. And then I can come back up in here and I can blend and blend and blend until I get a really nice ombre effect. And you just keep going back into those colors and blending until you get the blending looks like what you want it to. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Kelly, or Tara, sorry. I was looking at the wrong name there. It would be difficult if you had some vision problems, especially when some of these colors are so close together, for sure. But even if I take So this would be a good way. And this is our thick Whisper White, or listen to me, Whisper White, our thick basic white. We don't have Whisper White anymore. So it works really well on our thick cardstock because you really have to put down a lot of ink on this. And so here I'm using, so this was dark soft succulent and dark evening evergreen. So there is a big difference here, and you can just come up in here. And so you see how it's still, you're getting a really good blend. Okay. So I hope that's helpful to see that. And as you can see here, let me show you the back side. This piece is folded. So if you're not seeing the ink coming through on the back side, you're probably not using enough ink to color. Okay. So this is our little blends lesson for the day. All right, so let's get back to our little turtle here. And I'm going to start on these little squares on his shell. And I'm going to, now Stampin' Up! They do so much work for you. I love it when people tell me, I can't make cards because I'm not creative. And I'm like, you don't have to be. Stampin' Up! Does all the work. So you've got these little lines in here that indicate shading. And so that's where I'm going to come in. And I'm just going to start putting in some of the dark ink. You see, this is not rocket science, y'all. I'm just scribbling, okay? So just on those little corners of the shells, you can do as much or as little. If you wanted to add more, you could. All right. And the one thing with these, make sure you hear them snap when you close them, because they are alcohol based, and if they don't get completely closed, then the ink will evaporate. Okay, so now let me see if I can zoom in. All right, so now I'm going to take my light evening evergreen, and I'm just going to color in, and I'm going to blend over into that. And it's not, when it's still wet, it's not going to look like much. And you're going to think, what was even the point? But as it dries, you start to see that shading more. And then the cool thing is, once it dries, if it's not the shading that you want, you can still go back and work on it and make it what you want it to be. All right. So we've got the shells. All right, now I'm going to take my light, well, I'll take it back. I'm going to take my dark soft succulent, and I'm just going to go in with a little bit of detail, kind of like around the edge here, maybe a little bit there, a little bit. Like I said, I'm just kind of following these lines that Stampin' Up! Has already put in there for me. And I'm even going to do this kind of on his little feet and his little turtle head. And I tell you what I could do. I could color like this all day long. I love this part of it. Okay. So I've got my shading in there. Now I'm going to go back with my light soft succulent. And if you haven't noticed, there's a fat line here, and I've covered it up on mine, but there's also a skinny line. This indicates that this is the brush tip, which I just tend to steer clear of because this bullet tip is a lot more sturdy and it can take the coloring. And so now I'm just going to start kind of with little circles, go around and color the rest of this little guy. Now we've still got some Daffodil Delight to throw in there, so he's gonna take shape here in a minute, and I think you're gonna really like it. So, and again, I just kind of work with little circles to blend in that darker ink and make sure that I'm not seeing any real harsh shading lines. And then I'm going to come in with this kind of in between his little turtle shell, in between all these little guys. Now, I'm going to go back in because I see some shading, but I want to add just a little bit more in some areas. And so you can go back in and just add it wherever you want it. And then if you get it where you feel like the line is just too stark, then you go back and you just take your light and you blend out some more. And it's as simple as that, really. I promise. If you could color with crayons when you were a kid, you can do this. I'm just going to do a little bit more on those. So hopefully, and it looks like, yeah, it looks like on the camera it's showing up with some good shading in there. And then I'm just going to kind of go in and blend out a little bit more, just to make sure nothing's too harsh. Right up here on his head was a little bit harsher than I wanted, so I'm just going to blend it out a little bit. Okay, his little turtle toenails here. Okay, so there we go. Now, on his shell here, there's a little, I want to take away a little bit of color, and we have something that's called a color lifter. And so this is going to pull, this is not what it is, but I kind of think of it as like a bleach pen. That's not what it is, but that's kind of does sort of like that. And you can't really see that it's doing anything yet, but as it dries, it's going to lighten up. And I'm just going to leave it there and let you see that. Now for his body, because I didn't want it to be so monochromatic, I took the Daffodil Delight. And I did use the brush tip for this because I just wanted it to be kind of soft. So I just came in and just did a little bit of, just a little bit of this yellow in here to give him a little bit of color. So he wasn't quite so green. So there we go. And again, I'm going to take my light soft succulent and I'm just going to blend that out so it doesn't look too yellow, but he still has some little variegated color, I guess, maybe the best way to say it. All right, so there is our little turtle. Now this, as this dries, you're going to start seeing a little bit more color variation, but I am going to kind of just go through the center section here and just lift out a little bit of color off of his belly, maybe a little bit off of his knee. So you can fiddle with this as much or little as you want to. But as it dries, and you can see I've got some good color bleeding through here, so that means I've got some, I'm putting down enough ink. Hey Susie, I'm doing great. We did great on Saturday. Thank you for coming out. We had our Stampin' Yard sale Saturday. Now, I want to make, we've got these little lines here that kind of ground our little turtle. And so we want to make sure that we kind of, let me see, bring him back. So we just want to give him a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of grounding just to make it look like he's not just floating there in space. So I'm going to take, this is my light gray granite. And I'm just going to come in here. We've already got these shading lines here. Now on my sample, I did the light balmy blue over everything, but I decided for the ground part on this one that I was just going to put some gray granite down. And then finally, I like to take a light balmy blue, and this kind of just gives him a little bit of a, I don't know, a 3D effect maybe. It just kind of helps him to jump off the page, and it's very subtle. Well, at least when I do it, I use very light pressure, so I get as light as possible, and a very thin line. I'm using my bullet tip. Hope you can see this. Let me back out just a little bit. For whatever reason, my camera's wanting to not back out. Okay. So just go right on the outside edge of his little turtle bod here. And it's just enough of a shadow to make him a little bit more three-dimensional. Okay? Alrighty, so now it's time to start putting our card together. So I'm going to bring this back in. And before I adhere this down, I'm going to wrap my ribbon. Now, one of the great things about Stampin' Up! Is that we have so many coordinating products. So we have paper, we have designer series paper, we have markers, we have blends, we have ribbon, all kinds of things that are going to coordinate. Now, I'm going to do my little faux bow or faux knot trick on this. So if you hate tying bows and you hate tying knots, which most of my customers do, whenever I have a class, I am usually the designated bow or knot tyer for everyone, which is totally fine because it doesn't bother me. I like to do it. So what we're going to do, I measured my ribbon so that it just hangs off a little bit on each side here, okay? And I'm going to kind of get an idea for where that ribbon is, and then I'm going to put some adhesive on either side. And then I'm going to flip it over again, make sure I get it lined up just the way I want. I don't know if Pat Rittenhouse is still on here or not, but Pat and I used to teach stamping classes together. And we were a really great combo because I loved to put ribbon and glitter and rhinestones on all the projects. And Pat liked to put twine and brads and metal stuff on all of her projects. So we always had a great balance of embellishments in our projects. We had fun. All right, so now I've just cut another little tiny piece, and I'm going to bring it up under here. And all I have to do is cross it under one time, and bam, I have a perfect knot. It's awesome. And then I can just come in with my snips and trim those ends. And now nobody would know that it is not tied all the way around. All right, so now let's grab some Stampin' Dimensionals and let's go to town. Whenever I have a big piece like this, I do get a little crazy with my dimensionals because I don't want it to sag. Nobody likes a sagging card, so I cover it pretty well. Make sure I get the corners, a piece in the middle. Rip off all those. I tell you what, these backings come off so much easier than they used to. That is such a relief. Okay, so now I have my card base, and I'm just going to bring this in here and center it. Let me see if I can back out just a little bit. There we go. And then I am going to just put this one on with my Stampin' Seal. You could use green glue, you could use whatever you've got, whatever your favorite adhesive is. And then I'm going to center right there. Okay, now I have these beautifully coordinated rhinestones. You probably know where I'm going with this because I do it all the time. It's one of my favorite tips and tricks. Let me get my rhinestones out. I have a sheet here. So we're going to jump right back over here to these blends. And I usually, whenever I color my rhinestones, I generally pick the dark color. And I just color as many rhinestones as I would like to put on my card. And this one I'm going to put 5 on. Remember, design principles, always work in odd numbers. Odd numbers are more pleasing to the eye. So 3, 5, 7, you know, whatever, 9, whatever you feel like you need to put on there. So I'm just going to follow the pattern that I did on this other card because, you know, why not? And he fell over. And I like to use my take your pick tool to just come over here where I use that putty end, and I just kind of push it off and it stays stuck right there, and then I can press it down. And so now I have a perfectly coordinated card that is ready to go. Oops, got some putty stuck on there. All right, so there we go. Now I do like to always put something on the inside of my card. So because this is a darker cardstock, if it was a white base, I would just decorate it. But since this is a darker cardstock, I'm going to put a piece of white cardstock in the middle. And let me just show you real quick how I make those. So usually when I do this, I will do several sheets at one time. Now I usually typically only cut 2 pieces of cardstock at the most, just because it's a little harder on the blades if you do more than that. But we want our piece to fit in here, and we want to leave a little bit of a border. So we're going to cut it to 4 by 5 1/4. So I've got my 4 inches there. And like I said, I always do several of these at one time. So out of 1 piece of cardstock, I'm going to get 4 inside panels. And this one I'm actually cutting 8 of them so that I'll have extras. And then I come back over here, put this at 4 inches. Let's see, you can't see that, can you? Sorry. So 4 inches. Susie, you know I'm not going to forget the bling. So 4 by 5 1/4 again. If you're going to cut 1 piece, you might as well cut 2 pieces. It takes the same amount of time, and you have some extra pieces for later on. Okay, now what you can do with those pieces, once you have those cut, you can take, we sell, Stampin' Up! Sells our empty DVD boxes. Here, whoops, I about lost a thing there. This is the way they come. So you get 4, I believe it's 4 empty cases in here. And let me just open it up for you. This is a great way to store your designer series paper scraps. But this is also how you can store these inside card panels. So I've got them all done. So these are my inside card panels ready to go. I can just store them in here. So the next time I make a card, all I have to do is come in here, grab one, ready to go. When I start running out, I can refill that box. Let me show you. You can see this is how I also store my scraps for my designer series paper and my little bits and pieces that I don't want to lose. So those are a great little organization tool for you that you can get in our annual catalog. All right, so now I'm going to take a piece of this card or this designer series paper, and so remember this piece is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to put a little strip of this designer series paper at the bottom. So I'm going to cut, let's say, a 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches. Zippity zip there. Move that out of the way, and I'm always going to work on this before I put it into my card because voice of experience, if you put your panel into the card and then you start decorating and you mess up, you've messed up your whole card, or you're going to have to cut your card front off, and so don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. So I'm going to take just a couple swishes of the green glue. Again, remember the green glue takes just a very, very tiny bit. And I'm going to put this right here all the way straight to the very edge, kind of stand it up. And then I can take my green glue again and just come around the edges, do a little bit in the center. trying not to get this on my fingers because it is so dang sticky. Always double checking my card to make sure that I'm putting things in the right place, because that happened the other day. I put a card together and I put it together with it closing the wrong way. There's a little tiny edge over here hanging off, so I'm just going to trim that. Super easy. And then let's see if I can flip this over. Now the way I usually, if I've cut it correctly, if I can square it up around here, make sure that it's even on these 3 sides, and it should be even on the bottom. And there it goes. And then I will typically take my bone folder, which is getting kind of yucky looking, and just go over it that kind of smushes that glue around. And there we go. So there is that card. I love it. So that's using our Stampin Blends. Get your color and fix. Now you can see how this is lightened up in this corner. That's where I used that color blender or color lifter, and that just pulled out a little bit more and gave me a little bit more shading on that corner. So I hope you guys enjoyed that project. So there we go. Now I have one more stamping project to do, and then I'm going to show you some more new products. I got another order in, got some new products, and they're fun. I think you're going to like them. Let me move my blends out of the way so I don't lose them. All right, hang on a second while I kind of reset for a minute. If you've got some questions, you can throw those in the chat. I will try to check those as I'm resetting here. I'm glad you guys liked that card. That was a fun one to do, and so easy. I know it looks like it's complicated, but I promise it's not. You can do it. Let's get those blends out of the way. All right. So now our next project is going to be, let's see, I'm going to have to back way out for this one. May still not be able to see it. It's this gift bag. This is a sample that I made for our catalog kickoff that we had on, when was it? On Saturday. We had that on Saturday. And we wanted to have some samples for everybody to see from the new catalog. Now this stamp set, this Back on Your Feet, let me just make sure you know, this is in our annual catalog, so you can get this anytime. It's not part of the mini catalog or the Sale-a-bration. You can get this one anytime. And like I said, we've just got so many friends and family that are not feeling well that I thought I needed to make some cards. And again, if you would like me to send one of these cards to somebody, just send me a Facebook message and I will get a card to them. So let me show you how I can figure out my measurements on this. I use my Stampin grid paper for so much because it has 16 inches worth of ruler this way and 10 inches vertically. So 10 inches this way, 16 inches this way. And I know my camera to get it to zoom out a little bit, but it's just not cooperating. There we go. All right, finally. Okay, that's a little bit better. So the way I can do this is I can lay this bag. So I forgot to write my measurements down. So the base of this is 3 inches. So I'm going to put 3 inches. I know that's going to be 3 inches at least 2 times. And I think it's a 3-inch square bottom. Maybe not. It is not. Of course it's not going to be. 3 times, that's because 3 times 4 is 12, and that would be too much. So maybe it's not. Nope. So it's 2 and what number is 7/8? 2 and 7/8. That's right. I think I remember that now from making it. Okay, 2 and 7/8. So we're gonna figure this out as we go. And then that is 2 inches and that's 2 inches. I do remember those measurements. All right, so we're gonna take our scoring tool. I can never remember what it's called, scoring tool. And I have my stylus tip on my Take Your Pick tool that I'm going to use. The scoring tool does come with a stylus, but I am notorious for losing this stupid thing. I probably have 4 or 5 of the things, but I can never keep... Oh, wait a minute. Is this it? Oh, here it is. Yay, here it is. I talked bad about it. So the stylus just stores here, but it can sometimes pop out easily, and so I lose it all the time. All right, so we're going to use a 12 by 12 piece of Designer Series paper. And the paper that I used for this one is from the Friendly Hello Designer Series paper. You can get this paper for free when you place an order that is at least $100. And here is that paper. And so we're gonna pull that out. So when you get that paper, you also get the Friendly Hello stamp set for free. And let me pull that out. So here's the stamp set. So you get this paper and you get the stamp set for free when you do that. So we're gonna make this little bag using this paper. And I'm gonna use a different paper this time. I think I'm gonna use this stripe. I like that. So we're gonna use this stripe. Now when you are working in 3D projects, sometimes you need to pay attention to the pattern of the paper. Do I want the pattern going this way, or do I want it going up and down? And then sometimes the pattern on the back of the paper might be directional, and so you kind of have to think about that too. Because we're going to fold this flap down, I do have to kind of think about that paper, or that back side. And so if I kind of just fold it over, I think that's going to be totally fine, and I don't have to really worry about that, okay? So this is... the bag is going to be going this direction. And let me grab my stylus here. Okay, now I have to do a little bit of thinking, which is going to be a little scary. So we're going to score first at 2 7/8. And then, so we're going to go, let's see, 3 inches over and then I'm going to say all this stuff and you're going to be like, what? But I really have learned how to do this stuff pretty well. So 2 7/8, which would be 3 inches, is going to be 5 7/8. And then I need to come back 1 and then come back another 1. So that's going to be, I'm going to write it down, 5 5/8. We're going to cross our fingers that this is right, because I can't find my paper that I had these measurements written on. And so that's going to be 8 5/8, and then back 1 and 2, I think. So let me double check this. So I think that's right. So 8 3/8, and those numbers are sounding familiar. And then that should leave us, I don't know, we'll see. I know we have to do a 1/2 inch on the end. So we're going to see. Now you can rotate this paper. What is that? Is that 90 degrees? Yes, 90 degrees. And you're going to score at 2 inches. And then you're going to do a flip. And you're going to score it at 2 inches again. If it's easier for you to score at 2 inches and 10 inches, totally fine. But we're going to be folding the paper different directions, and so the whole purpose of scoring is to break the fibers of the paper and help it to fold the direction that you want to go. And so that's why I did a flip, okay? Now, let's cross our fingers that this is going to work right. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead first, and let's see. So if you recall, when you have the paper, the valley, the mountain stays in the middle. So we're going to fold towards the mountain like that. And so over here, the mountain is here, so we're going to keep it in the middle. We're going to fold this way, and we're going to burnish, get a really good fold line on there. And now is where we see if I did it right. there's a little 1/2-inch piece is right here. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to put this thing together whether it's right or not. We're going to make it work. I can already tell. I think I can already tell it's not exactly right. Pooh. I should have had somebody doing the math for me while I was doing it. Let's see. That one's right. It's this last one, so I think I can fix this. All right, I'm gonna go in and make another score line. All right, there we go. So it is, whoops, my paper's not straight. Okay, so it is at, I'm scoring at, what is that, 3/4. 3/4. There we go. Okay, I think that's gonna fix it. I will have the correct measurements on the Facebook post. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right, so we have to do some cutting first. And if you've seen me make some bags before, then you know we always have this little triangle down here we have to get rid of. And so just to give you an idea, that this is gonna fold over, and that's gonna make our top edge, and then this is gonna make our bottom. All right, so now there's always this rectangle that's over here. We're gonna go ahead and cut that off first. And then I always just kind of do a little angling there. And then we just cut up. Now this one, these flaps don't overlap 100%. And so we're gonna keep those at a straight cut. All right, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. Now the next thing, I am gonna kind of just take out a little bit off of this edge over here, just to take out a little bit of weight. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is get this piece folded down and secured. And I'm just gonna run a little piece of Stampin' Seal right under the fold line and then fold it over. And that is all you have to do on that. Let me get my scissors out of the way. Okay. And once you fold that over, now you need to kind of go back and re-burnish these edges. And that's where your bone folder really comes in super handy for this, because you're going to really get your bag is going to look much nicer with these edges really crisp. Okay. Yay, that looks like it's overlapping correctly. All right, so the next thing you can do, there's two different ways to do this. You can fold your edge. This is where you're going to be putting your adhesive. So some people like to fold it over that way and then fold it flat. That's kind of the way I prefer to do it, because that way I can see and I know that it's all matching up. Some people like to fold one panel over. And so this is where our adhesive is going to go. On this piece, it has this little notch down here, and then you can fold over and then press it down. Either way, there is no right or wrong. I'm gonna put a little piece of adhesive just under there to get that piece down. Also, when you are doing 3D items, it is best to use a really strong adhesive. And so I always suggest sticky strip. And so I'm going to take, or I'm sorry, gosh, oh, that's the old name for it, tear tape, which is much better than sticky strip, because the sticky strip you could not tear, and it was almost impossible to get the backing off of the sticky strip. So I'm going to put that there, and I can just tear it off. Because this is going to hold something, I have actually a candle to put in here. I'm going to put a double strip of the tear tape. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish, and this gets the air bubbles out, gets a really good contact with that paper one, so that it seals well when you put it together, but two, so that when you go to take this backing off, it'll come up easier. And I use my pointing end of my take your pick tool to do that. And so now I can just fold this in half because I've got my little flap down here, and because my measurements are now correct at the end. There we go. And again, we just burnish, get all those air bubbles out so we have a really good firm contact. And then to figure out where your back of the box is going to be. Now this is good because it's pretty, everything looks even up here. It's really hard to see, but I see where this little flap is right here. And actually I can go in, I'm going to go in with just a little bit of green glue so that it'll stay down. But, so I know that that's going to be pointing to the back of my bag. And so that's pointing that direction to the back of my bag. That means I'm going to fold my piece, my flaps in, and my last fold is going to be going to the back of the bag. Is it critical? I don't know. You know, it could be. I don't know. But that's the way I've always done it. That's the way everybody that I watch who makes 3D items, that's the way they do it. So guess what? That's the way I'm going to do it. And now I'm going to put some of the tear tape on the bottom, the last flap. You can do more if you want to, but really this should be okay. If you are going to have something really heavy, you could also cut a piece of cardstock that's the size of your bottom and just put it down in there, and that'll just reinforce the bottom just a little bit. But let me get the backing off of here. There we go. So now I just fold that flap down, fold this flap down, and then I take something that's long that I can get down in there, and I just press to make sure that I get a really good seal on that tear tape. So now we're coming, so I look for that flap, that's the back side of my bag, and now I just kind of gently start pressing this, and really I want to kind of press down here underneath where this fold is, and just kind of start working it. And actually it's gonna kind of stay closed on its own without me really doing a whole lot to it, so that's kind of cool. And let me go grab my candle real quick that I'm going to put in there. Now I grabbed these candles, I don't know how long ago, from the Dollar Tree. They were a really pretty, it smells good, it's called Mermaid Reef. It's a really pretty candle. And so it fits perfectly in that bag, and you can see it's not coming out the bottom, so that's all good. So now I can take my bag. You can choose to pinch this as much or as little as you want. So in my sample one, I pinched these flat. Okay, now this one I'm going to kind of leave a little bit more open here. And I'm going to take some pale papaya ribbon because it's my favorite. It really is my favorite. And just tie my bow on here. Oops. Even though there's nobody here, I know somebody's watching somewhere at some time, maybe 10 years down the road, I'm still gonna struggle tying this bow. Okay. So I always just kind of get my loops as even as I can. Get them to look kind of proportionate to the bag. And then I trim my ends. And there we go. And now just to stamp a quick little tag, I already have one of these tags cut out. Let me see what I've got. Where did they go? I don't have that color cut out though, so my little bag of tricks here, I don't have that color cut out, but that's okay. around this corner, there's a little sparkly corner where I will just use my Wink of Stella and pick up a little bit of ink. And I always do just a tad bit on my paper first. And then just kind of come on this one, I'm just going to come in on these centers. So there we go. And that just gives it just a little bit more color. And it gives it a very subtle bling without adding rhinestones. For those of you who may not like rhinestones, we can still be friends, but I don't know why you wouldn't like rhinestones, but it gives you a nice shimmer without adding any of the rhinestones. And I got a little too close to those letters there, but that's okay. So I have a great little gift for somebody. And just center that on my bag. And there we go. So we've got that project. So here is my sample. And then here is the one we created tonight. And again, this is the Friendly Hello Designer Series paper and stamp set that you can get free with Sale-a-bration. So if you have some things on your wish list, make sure that you are grabbing those Sale-a-bration deals. Here's the other card we made using the Stampin Blends. Thanks, Tara. I'm glad you liked it. Now, if you want to hang on, I'm done stamping. If you want to hang on and see some new products, see some new things, we have a new kit that's out in our kit collection, and I have that to show you. So if you'd like to hang out and see that, please do. If you've got other things to do, you can always come back and watch the replay or check it on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can go over to YouTube, search for Brandy Ruth Stampin' Up, and you will find me, and you can subscribe. You can hit the bell, and that will give you notifications so that whenever I post a video on YouTube, you'll get notified. You can make sure that you're liking my Facebook page, and you can also make sure your notifications are turned on for Facebook. So I'm going to scoot the camera down just a little bit more again so we can get a little closer to the work surface. I'm going to scroll through here real quick to see if I missed too many questions. Angie, I'm glad you liked that. Ginger, I know you're not doing the math. That's what I'm here for. I'm to help you do the math, Ginge. I know, it's terrible. And I obviously didn't do it perfectly, but I did figure it out. So, yeah, Leanne, I'm sorry you didn't get to make it Saturday, but hopefully you're feeling better. And we'll get to come to our next event. So we've got Chicks and Chocolate coming up. January 27th, Thursday. If you want to come, please make sure that you go to the event in Facebook and click on the link to register. Registering for Chicks and Chocolate is really important. So that lets me know how many people are coming and how many card kits that I need to prepare. It's really hard for me if I prepare a bunch of kits and then not everybody shows up, or if I prepare for what I think is coming and then I have some surprise attendees, which is always great, but that means I may not have enough materials ready. So registering on the Google form is super important and super appreciated. And if you need help with that, send me a message, and I will be happy to help you. I've got a ladybug flying around here and just making me crazy. All right, so here is, drum roll, the new kit. It is called, it's not labeled. I guess it'll be inside here. Let's see. We get a Coastal Cabana spot. Now this is an all-inclusive kit. It is the Light the Candles. I could not remember what it's called. Now, first of all, you also get this really cool box, which is great to help you organize your craft supplies. I know lots of people store their ink spots that they get from their kits and paper pumpkins in these boxes. You can, these are great to pack up little, if you're going to go away on a weekend, you can pack up a project and put it in those boxes. You can organize. If you're a teacher, those are great for organizing your classroom. all kinds of fun stuff. So here's the kit. So you're going to make 4 each of these cards. And again, all inclusive. So you get the ink, you get your stamp set, you get a block, you get the adhesive, you get the envelopes, you get all of the materials to make those cards, the embellishments, everything. So let's bust into this baby. And I mean, we always need to send birthday cards, right? Those are the embellishments right there. And here's your block. And it's a thinner block than what our blocks are, but this is also a great to take with you in your travel. If you make a little, I have a little kit. Where is mine? Let me grab it. So I have this is a 31 bag. My friend Brenda gave me this cute little Create pin. I love it. And this is the 31 Glamour bag. And so this is my little travel kit. I have a chamois in here. I've got a block. I've got snips. I've got take your pick. I've got adhesive. I've got rhinestones and Wink of Stella and glue and all kinds of stuff. So I keep, those little blocks are good to keep in your travel kit. All right, so here are the envelopes. Look how pretty those are. So there's our envelopes. Let me scroll back down here. Okay. And here are the pieces. Oh, these have lots of really good shimmer on them. I hope you can see that shimmer. Okay, and you've got some die cut pieces, the little candle. So I'm assuming we're gonna layer like that. Super easy. And then I love the shimmer on these. And so then again, we've got some die cut pieces. Looks like laser cut is what I would call it. And you're gonna, layer on top just like that. And you've got your adhesive dots in here to use to put them together. And then you've got your card bases. Now, as you know, there's lots of folks out there that will come up with alternative designs for these kits. One thing that almost everybody does who likes to do that, whenever Stampin' Up! Gives you a card base that is decorated like this on both sides, almost everybody immediately cuts this in half and then adds a Whisper White card base, and then you have doubled your cards. And so it's a great way to get more value out of your card kits. So there's that base. Here's the other card base. Very pretty. I love this. Looks like Mango Melody is what I would guess that is, if I had to guess. And then we've got some die cut banners for you. These are great too because you can use either side. So if you have another ink you want to use, if you're not using them with this kit, I always save the extra. They typically give us extra pieces, especially in Paper Pumpkin. You can end up with tons of extra pieces. So save those, and if you don't like this side, you can always use the other side. These look like for some candles, some little die cut circles and rectangles, and then holy moly, look at all of this. All of this, it's like Stampin' Dimensionals, but it's in little strips. So very cool. Got a whole great big sheet of that. I could see myself cutting this in half maybe and maybe making the most of that. And then here are our adhesive dots. Now I am not always a fan of these, but especially when you're putting things together in small spaces, let me just show you how you can use these. Of course, the way I used to use them was to just throw them away. We don't want to do that. We don't want to waste stuff. But one easy way to do it is to take your paper snips or something that's sharp and just flip off the little backing. Oops, I think it has the adhesive came off of it. Okay. So here we go. So you can pick it up with your snips or with your pointy end of your take your pick tool if you have that. It is to pop up. Oh yeah, to pop up the laser sheets. Yeah, that's what I figured probably. So you can do it this way, and then once you have this, let me grab a scrap piece of paper. Here's one, a little banner. So once you put it down, you press it then the backing is sort of like our dimensionals. Once they're adhered to something, then the backing comes off pretty easily. And so these are great. They're glue dots. They're super strong. They're really good. They can just be a little difficult to use the first time you use them. So just play with them. You can peel them off with your finger, and you get it stuck on your finger, and then you can just put it down however you want to do it. But that's what those are for. They're not, and I think they do come off of the plastic backing easier than they used to. So there you go. And then these are like the little Stampin' Dimensionals bags. You'll find them everywhere, right? Okay. Let me put that little piece over there so I don't lose it. So this is the Light the Candles card kit. Now the great thing is it also comes with full color instructions. So if you are a rule follower and you need to make the cards exactly the way they're listed, there you go. You have all of the rules right there. And you can follow them till your heart's content. The other thing they do, and let's see. So yes, this is something, and I don't know how new this is, but I've noticed it on paper pumpkins the last several months, is that they're showing you where to place those adhesive dots, and then here's where you place those dimensional strips. So they're showing you exactly how to put these together. These directions are so much better than they used to be. Plus their color. They used to just be black and white, and now their color so much better. There's also a handy dandy little ruler down here. Metric this, or not metric, imperial this way, metric this way. So if you needed, this particular card doesn't have any ribbon, but sometimes the kits will have ribbon and they'll tell you to cut a 12-inch length or a 9-inch, and you know, who has a ruler on them? Unless you have a to-go kit like I have and you put a little ruler in your to-go kit. But this is great to have too. And then finally, on the back, it does give you a picture, and now let's see here, of everything that you should have inside your kit. And it tells you, so you know exactly what you should have there. There's also QR codes here. So if you need to learn some beginning stamping basics, you can use this QR code and go to that and get some basic instructions. And then also right here, you can go to use this QR code to get the detailed instructions for this kit. Okay, and it does have the coordinating colors. So if you have ink, if you have some cardstock, then you know what colors are going to coordinate, and you can actually, you know, come up with your own ideas for the cards and come up with some alternatives, and then you can coordinate really easily with that. So I hope that is exciting. I am going to be making these. They look like they're going to go together very, very quickly. And so I bought 2 of them. So I bought one to make exactly as it says, and then one to do some alternatives. So hopefully I'll be able to come up with some alternatives for you that you might enjoy. And we'll do that on another stamping evening. We'll work on that. All right, and another thing that I got that I was really excited to get. Now this is the Heart and Home, these Memories and More card packs. If you've never used the Memories and More card packs, they are super, super easy, and it makes creating cards really easy. It also, if you're a scrapbooker, or if you're a wannabe scrapbooker, but you're not really a scrapbooker, which is kind of what I am. I would love to be a scrapbooker, but I'm not. This is a great, our Memories and More system is a great way to do some scrapbooking. So let me show you, first of all, so this card pack, you get this, I mean, I don't know how many cards there are, but this many cards. Okay, they're two-sided. They coordinate with the Heart and Home designer series paper and stamp sets. And so you've got one, this, you know, this could be a card right here. I would love it we had a die that matched this. That is a really pretty label. And then you've got like this one. This is a great, this could be good for a journaling piece. And then you've just got a really pretty piece of wood grain back here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to give you an idea of what comes in the Memories and More card packs. This one, you could easily cut this apart, layer it onto another card. Let's see what's on the back of that. Oh, it's just a really pretty, so easily you can come in. You could even come in here with some Stampin Blends maybe, or colored pencils or watercolor pencils and add some color to this. Holy cow, this could be, I really like this. So these little card pieces are really very pretty. Oh, I love that. So this, yes, I was gonna say that very much looks like the hand pen petals at first glance, but it's the Heart and Home. But it has a lot of the similar colors. Ooh, look at that! Isn't that pretty? Goodness gracious! All right, so just kind of flipping through some of these really fast. So you can see how you've got some really great pieces for journaling. You could even put this on the inside of the card to write a note if you're going to use these for card making. I love this blue and white. It's really pretty. Okay, so that's just to kind of give you a quick idea of what those look like. So those are the smaller cards. And then we have some stickers and some die cuts. So these are sticker pieces. All right. So you've got those. You've got several sheets of these actually. So there's 2 of those. There's 2 of these cute little tags right there. I love it. Oops, one of those pieces. So then you also have some larger. I believe these are closer to. Let's see what they are. Yeah, these are 4x6. 4x6 cards, and again, it all matches our designer series paper. What a beautiful day for love. Okay. Oh gosh, look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love all of it. And look, there's bees. Love the bees. I love the wood grain that is in this. Like, if you haven't seen the DSP for this, the back side of almost all the papers has a really pretty wood grain. They're all a little bit different. Sometimes the grain's going on a diagonal, or the planks are going on a diagonal. So really very cool. So what you can do, so then you also get these envelopes that fit those sizes. Okay. So what you can do now, we can just sit here and put together a couple of these. So this is the card base for the smaller cards. And let me grab my bone folder. Let me check the comments. Okay, nothing. I'm not missing any comments, so that's good. I hope that means you're enjoying watching what we've got going on here. So make sure that if you like what you're seeing, you're hitting the thumbs up and all those good things, so that I will know. Let me see what I'm looking for here. So it started out, here's the one before, and this is the after. So there we go. And then again, the same thing, whoops, that's from the birthday, with the larger card base. Just give that a little zip there. So we've got this envelope to go here, so that matches. And then we've got that card base. And let's see what, oh gosh, I love this. I love this one. That flower, you can tell, that's just my favorite. And so I think I would probably just put this, I think I need some ribbon on here. What do you guys think? If you're still with me, if you're still hanging out with me, I love it. I'm appreciative. Let me know. And I am going to just add some pale papaya ribbon. Actually, I'm going to do a faux. Oh, look here. Here's the journaling for the other, if you are a scrapbooker. So let's see. We just need about that length. So I just wanted to show you how fast and easy it is to make a card using these memories and more, especially like doing this, you know, our faux bow little trick. And since the flower's on that side, I'm gonna bring my knot over to the other side. You can stamp directly onto this. And the cool thing about doing this is you can slide this bow side to side until you get exactly where you want it. That's one of the handy dandy little tricks. All right, and then I'm just gonna put a little stamp and seal. One thing I am learning, I've heard this before, with our stamp and seal, the lighter pressure that you use, the more success you're going to have with it. And I am finding that to be very, very true. The other thing with these cards, you can also, that's sideways. And I feel like my stamp and seal is super strong today. This is another reason, reason to use green glue. There we go. That's straighter. You could stamp directly down on this card if you wanted to. You could also come in and, oh, let's see. Now, you could just, this is a nice small little sentiment, and just put it right there. And I didn't have to do any stamping. So yay for that quick and easy card. And then you have coordinating envelopes for those. So just wanted to share those with you. And really those two are the biggest things that I wanted to share because I thought they were the most useful. So I know we've been on here for a while. And again, if you missed the beginning, you can always go back and catch it on YouTube. And hopefully maybe some of you are listening to this on YouTube later on. And let me know how I can help you. So if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator and help you with your orders. Remember, we have our mini catalog and Sale-a-bration going on right now. And I will post the host code for this month in the post for this video. And you can get anything, well, not anything, but for every $50 you purchase, you can get a free item out of the Sale-a-bration. If you have a $100 order, there's a couple items that are $100. This is that friendly hello that I used to make the bags. And so hopefully you enjoyed those. So that's all I've got for you tonight. I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you have a great evening, and thanks for joining me. And I will see you again next Wednesday at 8. Thanks. Have a good night.